Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm gonna start off with that faith, and then I'm gonna kind of give you guys a breakdown of the serendipitous thing that happened today. Well, actually, I can talk about it now. The serendipitous thing that happened. I'm gonna be rolling up my windows a little bit because there's a train. But I'm in a different mood right now. I'm actually very pleased with myself, and I really want to share that. I share everything, right? But this in particular, I really want to share. If you guys know, there's this channel, I'm gonna put it right here, called Soft White Underbelly, and it's a very good channel. Some of my neighbors right here who are like the homeless drug addicts that are highlighted on the Soft White Underbelly channel, I've been trying to tell them about that channel, but it's funny, they're into like cars, and you know, I know they do drugs and they're drug addicts, but they're not necessarily into like watching an interview of like something that is a mirage of themselves, you know. It's like they'd rather you know, so a lot of people who watch Soft White Underbelly could be, you know, addicts who are recovering. I'm sure many of them are, and also people who have experienced that from their family members to get insight, and some who've never even touched drugs that live a life that's just completely, you know, not even none of their family's been affected by it, you know. Whether it happened they just had a small family, or they really are fortunate, you know, bloodline, so to say, you know. I bring that up because I've been trying to get these guys to like watch some of the interesting stuff I've watched on that channel. But like I said, these people have been in prison, and probably would just be like, oh, I met a guy like that, you know, don't find it intrigue, you know. But they like fast cars, and they like reading the newspaper, and they're very smart, you know. Their circumstances have them on a substance, you know. But it's amazing the difference between having your door open to let some air in than just having your window cracked a little bit. It feels a lot better, but it's a lot more noise. I don't want to swing open, so I'm kind of holding it right here a little bit. When I'm recording from this point of view, I never really pan anywhere, right? I never really saw my shit in the bag. Shout out to my homie Edit. I got a couple sandwiches left, and some probably like a quarter of loaf of bread left. But I still have some EBT. I could go get something. But the title of this is going to be The Faith. Something happened. I'm going to get to it at the end. I want to hurry up and do this video, but I'm going to get to it. Today I had my therapy, and I had set this appointment up at the beginning of the month when I applied for some other benefits, but they required me to, they didn't require me, they brought up, you know, they need a history of your mental, you know, circumstances that you've been diagnosed with, and you know, or that you've sought out therapy and you're currently in therapy. Because last month, which was what, July, I had lost my county phone, you know, the phone they give you through Medi-Cal, the free phone. I had lost it, so the number she had, I totally missed that appointment in July, and I called her in the beginning of August when I was trying to get some other help, and they were like, well, you need to get back in therapy. So like, I got to give the lady a call before I end up like getting erased from their system. I ended up giving her an email, and she responded, and today she actually said like she'd prefer me to call her, and she's a really sweet lady, man. And I could just tell over her voice. I never met her before, but she seems like she actually cares and stuff, and I needed it because of what's been going on around me, the heightened paranoid state of me, the being up and down a lot lately, and also just some other like things that have happened around me that it's just uncertain living, you know. Living out here is uncertain, and I don't know who might be hearing me or whatever, but I'm not really dissing anybody. I'm not talking specifically about anything like, you know, any other like stuff that, you know, could get me in any type of danger. Like, I'm just saying what's going on is with me spiritually, kind of, you know, and emotionally. But I think I'm so glad I shared enough with her today that she gave me this like help. It's called the like she's like, faith, and she's like, write this down. You have something to write with. And at first I was just like, at that point I was already kind of just like already being a little bit negative. And she said, I want you to write this down. I'm sure you guys have heard it. I'm gonna hurry up so I just used my phone. I used my phone and wrote it on the notes, because she called me on my on this phone. I call it the Obama phone, but it's the Biden phone. I call it the county phone, the government phone. So I was able to write notes on this phone I'm using right now, which is better quality. It's my iPhone, my old iPhone, like the iPhone 8 or something. This is what I use to upload, you know. That's why I go to places with Wi-Fi and upload the videos. You know, I guess it constitutes work, you know, but freelance work for myself. You know, I often get paid. You know, most of the time it's off of donations, but which again I do ask for some donations if anybody has anything. But I put the link to my Cash App down below. But so I so I was like, okay, go ahead. And then she's like, all right, faith. The F means no, it's not faith. Think. Like I totally got it wrong. It's called think. She said, write this word down. Think. Each letter means something. She's like, the T, it means if it's 100% true. What I'm thinking, is it 100% true? You know, she's like, let's come an example. I said, well, I think everybody doesn't like me. I'm not like a likable person. I even got down to like, damn, I think people want to like physically harm me, you know? I feel like that sometimes. Like, I feel like the world is out to harm me pretty much. And she was like, is that statement 100% true? And then H means, it has to be think, right? Damn, what was it again? Yeah, it was think. And she's like, H. I wrote it down on this phone. Wait. So it's truth. Is that 100% true? Oh, and is it necessary? No, not necessary. What's the H? I said T is for, is it 100% true? Jesus, what is the H again? Are those thoughts helpful? I believe it's helpful. Are those thoughts helpful? And obviously it's like, no. All right. Are those thoughts inspiring? Like, you know, for T.H.I. Is that thought inspiring? And then N, is that thought necessary? And then K, is it kind? Like, is it like a good, are you like to yourself? Is it kind? Is that a kind thought? Is it bringing you healing and peace? No, when you're paranoid and you have PTSD and things of that nature, and things that you even learn as an adolescent that you're really trying to submerge and kick and change and, you know, and run from, really, you know. People run their whole life, you know, and never really give themselves an opportunity for the noise to settle and try to understand themselves better, you know. And it's so profound because, and I'm going to tell you guys more, so are those thoughts 100% true? Or that thought specifically. Start with that thought that may have made you feel a certain way. Because you might think that thought every day, which is has been limiting in your life, you know, as it has for mine. And, you know, it's those you know, that overall view of the overall truth that has made you think many different thoughts. All thoughts are different, but they might have a similar, like, reason, you know. And I felt like it just helped our conversation. We were having, I really, right now, I just feel like it's necessary for my life. Like, I'm out here, like, I have to really get stronger minded because, you know, I'm around guys that are doing drugs that can make them paranoid, and, like, you know, they bring this stuff that they learn in the penitentiary out to the streets, you know, and, you know, even if they're not even involved in anything, the drug makes them feel as if they still are, you know. And that's just an example with these guys that I'm around, or one guy specifically. And it's just, I don't know people out here, you know, but I'm also not a person that's looking for trouble, but I'm also someone who needs his own space, and I'm somebody who, but looks a certain way. Like, he told me about a tattoo that I had that, he's like, you shouldn't have that tattoo because that's like something that's part of an underworld, you know, conglomerate, you know. I was like, bro, I just got the tattoo, like, I just wanted it, like, you know what I mean? And, like, even when I'm doing my dances and it comes out in the video, I think, like, well, you know, in general, I guess I am that. I guess, like, my people were native to this area, not specifically California, I would say, or Southern California. You know, my family's more from like Texas and Mexico area, you know. What do you call that? Like the different, that part of the Northwest, you know, not necessarily Southern California. I'm not like a Southern California native, my family at least, but I am, you know, in more modern form. I guess this is more like heritage form, you know, seeing like an Indian. I'm not, like, obviously not disrespecting nobody or like not trying to, but like that shit triggered me, like, oh my god, like, cause this is a story. I would go to jail because I've heard that before about the tattoos on the outside. you know, on the outside. Like, even before I got busted on graffiti, I would hear like, oh, they hate artists. Like, I always thought that's fucked up. Like, they hate artists. Like, they don't like. Well, I think they didn't like artists that were like also tag bangers, because in this culture there is artists that kind of mesh the gang culture with street art, and that could, because some of those guys are like pretty crazy and pretty reckless as people who claim like neighborhoods, you know. Um, I got into this, but it's just to give you insight, you know. I could see that, but for a pure artist that would just, I see it as a sport. I was never really good. I was getting good, like doing it. So I had artwork out in the street that was totally horrible. There's still some artwork out there that's totally toy, and I was getting better. You know, I didn't, you know, unfortunately, if but not like the end of the world type of thing. But unfortunately, I didn't wasn't given like a pencil in my hand. I wasn't encouraged to draw. You know, I was encouraged to do sport. You know, that's why you see I kind of still have an active lifestyle. Like, you know. So yeah, so it's T for if it's 100% true, you know. And she was also talking about thinking in black and whites, like, oh, they want to. It's like when you're up and down, you're thinking, oh, I'm good, and then you're thinking like, or she said like scenarios of like your PTSD makes it seem like the whole world is bad, but you got to be smart. She's like, you know, when I go for a walk, it's not like I'm just like, it's not black or white. It's more than that. It's like there's a gray area. It's like when I go for a walk, I still have to have. We're humans. We have to have a, especially as a female by herself, but even a man at night who's going for a walk, you have that natural, be careful, that caution. But if you're like wide-eyed on drugs, you don't ever want to go to sleep. You know what I mean? You're looking around over your shoulder all the time. Like, there's people out there like that. You know what I mean? And just some people have a different PTSD is PTSD, no matter what. It's still an uncomfortability. It's still a paranoia. It's still a judging yourself harshly and thinking you're just a bad person. Everybody knows what you're thinking, and everybody knows every single thing you've done, and everybody, you're never gonna change, and like, you know, nobody wants to hear it. It's like, you know, no. It's like you're about to get murdered, and you're like begging, like, oh, I'm different now, you know. It's like that noise in your head, like, whoa, the world just starts spinning. You're like, oh my God. That's that fight or flight. That's fear, you know. That's that survival mechanism at a time where you really don't need it, but you're just so fucking, you're like, that thing is so amazing. It's like almost like a spiritual thing, like how they created. Like, is that thought 100% true? I mean, is it helpful? Is that thought true? Is it a helpful thought? Does it inspire? Is it necessary? And is it kind? You know, like, and I've been kind of using that right now, and I'm just saying, like, the initial, like the initial paranoias that I do have, like where I'm at, where I'm living, like it's like kind of similar to jail. Like, I feel like I can't get away. Like, there's a guy that just moved in, and at the surface level, when he's himself, and I could talk to him personally, you know, but he is also like, I gotta be I'm learning a lot of patience, because I'm also like he was kind of expecting every morning. He was waking me up. He would have woke me up today if I didn't get up. But I'm grateful for him, because I've been getting up early now, so that way he doesn't bug me. Because I do have a sense of like, I don't want to be punked, you know. I don't want to be out here getting punked, like, or him thinking I have to get him food every day. So I do it where, like, I'll tell him no, but then I'll come back with food, because at least I feel a little bit sense of control. Like, I'll do it when I want to do it, you know. And it was kind of like trying to fill him out too, like, you know. But luckily he has a couple people that help him out, and, you know, the drug that he kind of does, he doesn't have to eat all the time. But he does tell me, unfortunately, that he's dying. And I want to do an interview with him or for him, but he's charging me like $40, and he said he would do it. I was, because I'm a little sure about him. I don't know if he's a more serious guy politically in the underworld, you know, but that meshes over to actual politics, you know. It's like, because that's a culture that's deep embedded. But like I said, I'm not here to shed light on anything or make something seem bad. Like I said, things have been here longer than me, and people have praised and diminished everything in life, right? So there's people for it and against it, and there's people that just want to be left out of it, and I just want to be left out of it. So yeah, people could judge me, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people who are out here have opinions, but aren't really putting their face there to speak on it. So Um, I'm just talking about my situation, obviously, and so yeah, so I was like dealing with like, man, like I felt like back when I was younger, because I'm a victim of, I had fear of a person who was aggressive when I was a little kid. I'm like, man, I don't want to get beat up. I was getting bullied. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't have my father to hey, son, like, don't be getting bullied, son. Like, you know, or even give me some sense of like, damn, if I go home, it doesn't beat my ass for, you know, I didn't have that. Like, I was able to avoid it and kind of just deal with all that tension and deal with that fear, you know. And this is what I've become, you know. I become someone who doesn't know how to handle, you know, friendships, or, you know what I mean? It did a lot to me, you know, because it wasn't just, specifically, it was one person that put that physical fear in me, but then there was somebody, there was specifically many peers that used words to humiliate me, you know, and kind of stint me in a way, you know, so again, back to the think thing. I'm not, these emotions, are they necessary? I don't feel like I'm coming off too aggressive, but I kind of feel just how some things can make me, you know, and so yeah, I bring that up, but I don't know. I guess that's just to give you guys insight, but so also, so that's and like, so I still have struggles trusting the guy. Like, I have struggles like I get paranoid sometimes, like, man, like, but I'm here, like, I go running in the street and I do high performance stuff, and these people see me in my truck living here, and I do have a bad attitude sometimes, and I do question what I do. Is it egotistic? Is it wrong? Is it, and you know, a lot of times I do just focus in on myself, and I'm self-centered, and just everything seems to be about me as a defense mechanism. I learned that as well. It's like I keep it all on me. I'd rather just focus on me because it's keeping me safe. You know, I'm isolated because I'm safe. Like, you know what I mean? Because of those thoughts. Like, everybody knows everything about me. I'm such a bad person. I don't forgive myself. I truly haven't forgiven myself. I truly, because to truly forgive yourself, you have to actually work on it to where you can just forget about it. You know? And there's something that happened yesterday. Actually, like I said, there's times where, like, this can't be true. I can't be living on this property in my truck with no tags, and nobody's over here telling me I gotta leave. Or, you know, I feel like I live in a world that's so fucking, like, we live in America where it's like they're not helping nobody. You know, nobody has a heart. It's like just a machine. You know, I don't feel that there's a heart to it. It's just a machine. So, and so long story short, not long story short, there's somebody that came in and left, and I don't know, I'm hoping it was a female, and but I'm not focused on that right now. So okay, so this county property is right next door to a flower shop, and next to that is a Catholic church, but the church owns that whole property, even the flower shop property. But I guess it's a separate owner that runs the flower shop. It has nothing to do with the church. Been there for years, right? And next to me, so I'm in between a FedEx yard. Like, I don't know exactly what they do here. I don't care. And there's this open county parking lot because of this hiking trail that's been acknowledged by the county, right? So they have parking space, and then they have like well, it's actually for the horses. It's like an equestrian path, but obviously humans, they like to go hiking there. You know, there's an old man that goes running here. He's white hair, white beard, older Caucasian man. He doesn't run very fast, but he's constantly moving. Looks like he's running, but at his pace. He said he doesn't even call it Nike Hill. He calls it Rose Hills. So he was here before they like termed it Nike Hill. So, and even when he spoke about it, he had like a little bit of pride or a little bit of entitlement to the name of the place. Like, well, I was here before they named it that, because it's called Nike Hill. They even have like a street sign that they have customized, and they have it up there. People take pictures and stuff. I know. Yeah. So, but he runs it. He says he's been running it for 30 years, and like I said, he told me he was over 60. He could be 70. You know, he's an inspiration in him. You know, there's a junior college with the police academy, and like, you know, and so I would see her like, man, and I love music, and And I've seen history of people trying to change the world, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and like, you know, stuff like that. Like, the white man did not like them stepping on their toes, you know what I'm saying? And so history, you'd be stupid not to learn from history. So sometimes I'm like, dude, I know I make my music, and sometimes I do feel sad, and I say things I want people to feel better about themselves. Like, you know, it's not about your looks, it's not about chasing just money and stuff. That gives me anxiety sometimes. I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, and then you should watch documentaries about them reading your text messages, and they know everything about you, and it all seems kind of makes sense, right? You read books like 1984, like I'm saying specific, I read them, so, and like I'm like, oh shit, like, oh damn, like, and then there is like, I don't know, there is an ignorance in society, you know, so I feel like I'll get misunderstood, you know, or I'll get judged at the same level. It doesn't matter if you're a high-ranking person in society or a violent person in society that's ranked in that underworld, or just somebody who just is not involved with anybody. Like, I feel at a point like, dude, did I have to be involved with somebody? I feel the same as I did when I was like in jail, you know, like I can't get away from that mentality, especially when this guy came out of nowhere, you know, and you know, he has done a lot of prison time. And so I was like, I'm thinking like, man, like I'm not trying to be connected to nothing, but I'm also not trying to be a burden. I felt like, oh, dude, was there something going on at the specific spot where I'm staying at before I got here? I'm not trying to ruin business. That's what I'm saying. It's like, but I don't want to get involved with that shit either. And then I'm like, man, this world is so, these are thoughts, paranoid thoughts that go through. I'm like, dude, this world's so evil that they'll just take you out just for being in the way. They don't care about you. Like, even in America, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm feeling, you know? And this all comes from the news and social media, but at the same time, it hides your paranoia that's become so normal. Violence becomes so normal, so you're just so scared. And and I'm not trying to be figured out. Like, I'm not trying to be. People are ignorant. They don't know your circumstances, you know. People run with things that the media says, you know, and never really have ever done the research themselves. So that would build me up a paranoia, you know. And then, like, I was cool with the old man because I got to know him, but then I'm like, dude, then I think about these people being here for a long time, you know. Them had to know each other. They had to had relationships before, you know. But I could be wrong, so having that paranoia at times and just saying like, I can't trust none of these people. Like, what if I think this world really hates good. Like, I really feel like this society hates good, and they don't want somebody who's like a social artist or something, you know. So I do get those anxieties, you know. And not that I'm like good at art, like I suck at art, you know what I mean. I'm not that creative when it comes to graffiti. Like guys, like my favorite artist right now is Merch. Shout out to Merch. And I like Put 'em. Who's another favorite artist right now? That guy Rose is sick. RHOSE. And I like there's a name a few, but I can name the guys that are smashing, but I can't name nobody else. It'll be a long video. But there's the guys that pop up, like I think that guy Merch has like one of the sickest, dopest styles. And there's some other artists too. I don't want to name nobody else. Fuck, who else is dope? Like I said, I want to just speak on styles, not necessarily like. Is there that guy? Wait a second. That just ruined the video. Anyway, even artists have to go. So the phone therapy for me was amazing. So, but anyway, long story short, I came back. I had left and came back to the spot where I spend the night. Like I said, if I move, it's because I go get water. I have to just drive to keep my battery better. Or if I go to the store, or like I said, I give my neighbor a ride sometimes. On those high stress levels of paranoia, like being close to me and stuff. I'm already assuming, like, dude, this guy has to be, because he's brought up some really like connected conglomerates, and I'm like, dude, is he part of it? Like, is he sent here to like see what's up with me? I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to get in trouble, but I'm also trying to make it seem, let it be known I'm not the police. That's what you got to deal with when you're homeless, because you know, obviously there's drugs, and with drugs, there's a crime of distributing. So everybody fucking knows, right? And I'm an artist, so I try to keep my body stage right, ready, and also it's like, cause like I don't know, it's like my insecurities of feeling like I don't have a personality, so I have to supplement it by how I look, I guess. And also I'm thinking if I work out like this, like I live long enough to finally be comfortable in my own skin, you know. And and um and I just love the therapy today. It was so serendipitous, man, because what happened was so 2 nights ago I come back and literally this is the fence right here. So I park my car close to the fence that's next to the sidewalk that's by the main street, and across that is the other parking lot, which is I would say the first parking lot because that's the closest to the entrance to the hiking. And there's a lot of people like I don't know, the guy I'm about to talk about, he's like a guy that's always, I don't know, he doesn't really have family. I feel like when he's been alone a lot. He has the church, so look at trip out. And I'm gonna keep the think mentality because don't want to get out of character. The character that I'm trying to build, which is self-control, is like. And my buddy texting me right now. He's probably gonna leave a comment like, "Man, you should have smacked him," or. But check this out. So there was a fire right here. Literally, like, this is a dirt parking lot. Let me show you. But see like the weeds and stuff? Like the little bit of weeds. So on the other side of this fence, there's still a little bit of dirt, and then it's the sidewalk and then the street. So a little bit of dirt on this side of the fence. There's cars that pull over right here, and I don't know what happened. I was already thinking the worst, like, was somebody trying to like prove a point instead of fire, and they wanted to like maybe, but they couldn't. There's nothing here that could burn enough to like make my car catch on fire. You know what I mean? And or were they just like trying to cause attention right here to make it seem like we're out of control? I was thinking all this, like, are they trying to get rid of me? Like, so I was paranoid, right? So, but that night I came back. At that night I came back, I wasn't paranoid, but I was throwing. I tried to put it out, and I went to sleep, but it had been smoldering for hours and even overnight. So I woke up in the morning, and it was still steaming, right? But I knew I had to get a shovel. I knew I needed a shovel. I guess you could say, well, because it was late at night when I came back, like 12 or 1, and I knew. I don't want to say his name. He's been on my channel, and I also don't want to trash him or whatever, or say like, oh, that B word over there, like, something I would say if I was mad, but the guy who lives in the trailer on the church property, he was asleep, and he's the only one that probably had a shovel. I don't have a shovel on hand. My mom's house I probably haven't at my mom's house, but so like something like that, because I've been a wildland firefighter. When it's already burning like deep in the ground, you need a shovel to like move it around and then throw some water on it. You know what I mean? So that's why I didn't go out. So I didn't have a shovel, so I go to sleep, and then I'm kind of like, okay, I wake up, thank God, and I wake up, and then, my day goes on. I kind of noticed, I think it was still on a little bit, but at this time I wasn't concerned. I'm like, I'm up, I'm moving. I guess that's kind of selfish. I'm up, I'm moving, I'm minding my own business. I'm already thinking like, dude, I feel like these motherfuckers are trying to get rid of me. Like, I'm thinking like, dude, somebody hating on me. I'm thinking maybe FedEx, because at one time they came in bumping one time. And then like I had a fucked up attitude, like approaching them. I should have just been like, hey bro, can you just come? It wasn't that big of a deal, because like I said, when you react off your emotions, you got to see them again next time, and you look stupid, because either you're gonna like have the same energy, or you're gonna have to like be the one who like has to suck up their pride and you give them an opportunity to like kind of make you feel less than them. Like, oh, he's a lame, or like he acts like a bitch, or you know what I mean, to talk shit. But even then, that shouldn't even matter to you personally. But there was one morning they just came in bumping. I was a little pissed. I'm like, dude, like you don't see people sleeping here. So but I had to remember, is this emotion helping this conversation I'm having with you? No. So I was thinking, dude, does FedEx pissed at me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or people like, it's their actual haters that are, even if you never done anything to them personally, they don't know you personally, but just by how you carry yourself going for my runs, and maybe sometimes I don't seem as friendly or talk to nobody. I'm like a homeless guy, maybe they just think bad of me, or like, I don't know. Like, so all these was like, I was like, like I wasn't going through. I didn't know the think, the think skill, the think. Like, are these thoughts 100% true? Like, are these thoughts helping, or are they inspiring, or is it necessary? Are these thoughts kind to the world, to yourself, to your mental state, to your heart, your blood pressure, the decisions you make in life, And so at this time yesterday, I just faded. I was parked a little bit away from like any like flame that could come to me. Like they would literally had to pour they would have literally had to pour a line of gasoline for it to like come to my car, like at the movies, But I would just still like all of like this is coincidental. There's a fire next to my and I didn't know I had no therapy. I didn't know, but at this times of paranoia I've been having lately, I was like, I was like lately I've been like thinking I need to pray more. I need to pray more. I need something like I need somebody to come out of nowhere. Like I need somebody to call me out of nowhere. I need like somebody just to pull up on me, like because I've had those moments in life where I've been at my lowest and I thought things were gonna turn bad, and then something comes out of nowhere, bro. Like there was a time where like my paranoia, and I had this since like at this time I'm like 23, 24. I remember I was doing a construction job. I was actually working as a landscaper, and like the things I thought my partner hated me so much that one time we went to one of our properties, but I had gotten high and paranoid. I was like, man, he brought me to this property. He wants to fight me. He wants to commit violence to me. So I was having like this in my head, like this noise that kept getting smaller and smaller, and I felt like at a moment it was just gonna snap. And I'm in the moment, and I'm thinking like, this guy brought me here. Like we were supposed to eat lunch there, right? But I'm like, oh, nobody's around. Like he could hurt me. That's why he brought me here, so nobody could see us fight. We're supposed to fight. Like he hates me. He knows all the bad in me. He's judging me. He doesn't like me. He hasn't even said nothing to challenge me. But I just know he wants to challenge me. He wants to fight right here, right now. Like, and I was like, something was counting down in my head, right? And I had called my mom that day. And all of a sudden, at the very last moment, my mom finally calls me back. And it saved me, dude. I got on the call. I'm like, oh. But my relationship with my mom isn't like the greatest, so it was just I talked about what I just said. Oh yeah, she didn't even know this. She had called me. I told her, okay, yeah, you're just calling me back. Whatever I had called her for before, or maybe I did call her though, because that's why she called back. If I would have texted her, she would just text it, and I think I just kind of like used her call to get away from the situation. I just hung out in the truck. And I even felt like the gentleman, who's still a friend of mine, he's actually kind of like family, I know his family very well, and I felt like he might have felt the same thing, and maybe he didn't like me, maybe he was thinking like, oh shit, what's going on here, but he was still, I guess, like not gonna back down, or but it's my life I have to protect, it's maybe I was in the wrong spiritually or whatever. He felt my energy, like at that age too. I was really paranoid. I was like making music every day. I would carry a notebook with me. I would go to work. I wasn't getting really long with nobody at work, but I would write down every little thing I heard, a story from somebody. I would create a bar for them. I'd make songs, and I was making I'll go home, make my music that I wrote down for that day, and add to it, whatever, be creative. But a lot of it was pretty negative towards the world, like distrustful family and friends saying like the world's out to get me, and like I was trying to be like a Tupac, you know what I mean? And literally I was making some really good music. Some was really sad, some was very dark. A lot of it was egotistic and violent, and not necessarily super violent, because I'm not a super violent person. I know, like, I try to not be so fake, like, because I know situations are real, people really are getting violence committed to them, even innocent people every single day, so anyway, so, and I even had it's crazy because it goes back to even high school. I remember these two friends, they were a grade younger than me, and we were both on the same side. We were practicing, they were starters, so we were playing on, I think we were on defense or something. and they were laughing together. And I don't know why. I guess I must have been so defensive, and I must have, maybe they said something prior to me that made me think anything they said was against me. And remember them laughing amongst each other. I remember I pushed one of them, and they're like, "Hey, we weren't even laughing at you." I think I said, "What are you laughing about?" Or something like that. And like I thought years later, like probably like just a couple years ago, I thought like, man, even that moment was like a paranoid moment. Like I was really, it's not my family's fault, but that's a generational curse, is to realize certain things. That's what breaks the curse, is realizing shit, and realizing like that it's not their fault, but no one's gonna change you but yourself, and you're alone, you know. And at these times I was alone, you know. There was a decision like going to college to play a sport. I should have, you know, I should have never turned out how it turned out if I had just a little more support, or if I didn't have to make such big decisions on my own. Like, you know, of course I chose comfort. I chose, oh, I have a pretty girlfriend in high school that I'm with right now, but really the relationship was so fucked up because we came from fucked up relationships that we seen, you know. And but I was thinking, oh, I'm not gonna go. I didn't have confidence enough to leave I didn't have family support enough, and even like a stable home structure enough to be like, I'm gonna leave my house to go play a sport. Like, you know, I was recruited to go to New York. Like, for sure that was like my first. It was like a Division I AA or Division II, but it was a very it was like a science school, you know. And if I wouldn't been who I am back then, which just takes guidance, and it takes someone who knows to raise you up and be your support and be your elder, you know, be your true older G, you know, your true older leader. And like, but at the same time, I wasn't, you couldn't really see it. You could look at me and say, you're just a normal kid, you know. You couldn't really see it to where a coach really took me, felt he should take me, you know, like, cause like, I guess I thought I had a good solid family, that it didn't seem like, whenever like, if a coach was being cool with me, I didn't like be super cool with him because I necessarily like maybe needed a ride home, but I did need somebody to maybe like see that there's a burning desire in this person to be something in life, to make a difference, make a change, you know. So that's when they say, I think people slip through the cracks, you know, because if you go back, there's somebody, a kid who's probably like really was on their own since a younger age, they're more to like gain people's love and stuff, and to see like, okay, this he's a hustler because he's been having to survive, so they'll help out those people, you know. You see a lot of success stories from people who had no family or came from maybe a fucked up household, but you know, they might have landed in a litter from their mom where it was like, you know, they were the youngest of the family to see enough to be like, I'm not going to be like my older brothers and sisters, you know. And those people turn out to be successful and great, you know. So anyway, so that fire was smoldering, right? And like, I already went for my run in the morning, so I'm sitting in my truck I'm sitting in my truck because it's like being at home for me, you know. I'm just sitting here because there's like no it's like the middle of the day, and usually people, like I said, people come hiking early morning before work, or you know, whether they work at home or whatever, they come early, and then it gets like dead. It's dead right now, you know. It gets dead from like 11 to like 3. You might get 1 or 2 people, but the crowds during the week are from, like I said, in the morning, and then in the evening when people get off of work, or right before sunset. So I'm just in my truck chilling, right? And you know, and but at the same time I'm chilling here, I'm kind of on high alert of my neighbors, you know, because I'm not sure about them. I'm like, dude, they can't want me here. Like, I have to be. Like, they had to send that. Like, the old man was here for a while. Like, the old man, and then I call him the animal, because when I'm not even sure if he's over there yet. He might have ended up going somewhere today, because I gave him a ride somewhere where he was gonna end up being on foot. And I think maybe he just, since he was already out there, he's decided that I think he's just gonna he's better off maybe trying to hustle a bus ride somewhere and go enjoy his day, or try to go somewhere where he could get some money. He's a very he's not afraid to ask people for money, like, you know, he's not afraid to ask, because I guess I am, because I don't want to make it seem as if I'm in a hard place. I mean, you can look at me and see I'm in a hard place. So, but I'm still trying to seem valuable to like a woman that actually sees value in herself too, even though I'm in this situation. But long story short, so it was smoldering, right? But all of a sudden, these 3 helicopters. Oh no, okay. What had happened was I decided to I'm gonna actually work on the video right now. I decided to make a video. I decided to go to my spot where I wrote on the walls. You've seen the videos, right? And I was gonna do some dance moves. So and in the video, you see me doing the dance moves. But then my neighbor, the old man, the guy who I know his history, and like I said, he doesn't. I don't know. He just told me briefly, like, kind of some of the trouble he's gotten into. But I'm like, I think, like, man, from that crime you did, which wasn't like you just like fucking gave somebody a gram of fucking bud, had to deal with a lot of money. I'm like, man, this old man doesn't know people that are somebody's. So I'm thinking, like, man, dude, I don't want to, like, I don't know if, like, I was already being homeless for a little while before these people came around me. Something where they keeping an eye on me, or is it because they see something they could, like, they see that I'm helpful. If I got weed, they need some, like, I'm willing to give, because I'd rather avoid like a violent situation, but sure enough, a good thing that this guy is not as desperate. The dude, what's his name? What's his name? I don't want to say. I call him the animal, because when he's high, he's like super lit up, and I like, you're the animal right now. I gotta really be careful around you. And then his other name has the same name as the guy from the Grateful Dead. So long story short, and it spooked me out when Odin came out of nowhere and I was doing my dance moves. I'm always feel like they try to keep an eye on me, especially when you're on meth. You're paranoid. Like I said, they might not even be involved with anything and still be paranoid like that. But I'm like, people aren't stupid. Like, they might be working for somebody, just making sure, like, they might think I'm an undercover guy. You know what I mean? And just these misconceptions, and sometimes, like I said, they even just have an inclination. For some reason, they'll just decide that, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, we're just ants, in the big scheme of things, maybe, in some big rooms, we might just be considered ants, And, but me, I value my life, but I'm just in a peculiar situation, which makes me have to stay busy, which if I look around and I'm by myself, what are you going to want to do? You want to make a noise. You're going to want to tap on something. You're going to want to, but in this case, we have internet and I have a phone, so I can just look up a beat. So I make music, when I feel sad, or I might paint something, or I go paint the wall, or I want to do a dance and make a music video to show people, hey, I make good music, I hope to make music that makes you feel something in your soul, if you're at your lowest, or, like, these are my truths, But I have some other fucked up things that have happened to me in my life that people are ignorant and they're hypocritical and they forget the bad they done. But when you want to do right, or you want to succeed at something, people want to say, oh, but they want to make it known to the world all the bad you've done and stuff. So these things cause you to not really see the goodness or the greatness in yourself. It happens a lot. This world makes it difficult. And I think that's why you got to really be careful what you do in the world, and especially what you might do on video or anything like that. You really got to just be a good person anyway. But what I'm saying is, like, even when things can get misinterpreted, and people could get a point of view off of that, like, and that's pretty screwed up, And so when I'm in my car thinking, like, I was already paranoid when Odin just showed up out of nowhere when I'm making my video. I'm like, man, this guy can't let me be. Like, why does he want to? Because if you try to look, when you're face to face with the guy, he has like an evilness in him. Like, I don't know, he's just super paranoid himself, and he like, his defense mechanism is to keep you away, and like, he's like always on edge, and I just stay away from people like that, like, So I kind of been avoiding him. That guy, Jerry Garcia, he's like, he hasn't really shown a violent side. He's actually I could kind of like he's actually like the guys that I would hang out with being locked up because they're older. They're not like super aggressive and they want to like challenge you all the time, or they're not super always like, oh, you know, so and so from this hood, or you know, like there's a lot of that talk that goes on in jail and stuff. So I was always like cool with the older guys because, like I said, I'm kind of an anxious dude, an aggressive guy or whatever. So I just really, and also my paranoia, and like I could have a fucked up attitude one day. I just avoid trouble. It's just, you know, like I would cling to like an older OG, you know. That's what he reminds me of, but still, like, I still don't know him. It's like, what the fuck, like, you know, like, who knows? Like, yeah. I can't see him. I don't think he's over here. Yeah, unless he's taking a nap, but so like, you know, that the think, it's really helped me out a lot, and it was serendipitous. I haven't got to the point. So Mike, no, so I was paranoid with that. I came to my truck and I was like, what the fuck, Odin? Like, he came out of nowhere when I'm doing my dance. But see, that's just me thinking negative. Because he had came back from the 7-Eleven. But I was always, you know, me being fair, I'm like, dude, is that guy Odin watching me? Because he said some things where, like, he's the type of guy which it's really bad. He forgets that. I guess because he probably is kind of bitter when he's bitter. Misery loves company. So he'll say things subliminally that he thinks that are affecting me, because he thinks he knows who I am and stuff. He's that type of person. You got to be careful. They're looking for things for you, but I think those people hide a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking for things that are bad in you. You know, and he's old, and that's kind of sucks because he's an old man. I kind of snapped on him a couple times where I had to check him, like, you know, like where I let him know, like, kind of but I'm not gonna say that disrespect, subliminally, where it was like well, it's kind of pretty much telling him, like, bro, it sucks, you're an old man, you're hating on someone like my age, bro. It's like, I had said a couple of things, and I had said something about, like, it's funny how you talk about double speak, but you use it all the time. When people aren't straight up with you, where they'll say a story, but they really are trying to get you to see if you're conscious, like, it triggers their conscious in a way. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like snakish behavior, kind of. Just be straight up, like. And it's funny, those people who call the snakes behave like that, or they themselves are snakes, you know, or behaving like a snake. You know, you got to be aware of yourself, you know, and it's called arrested development, you know. So, you know, I was like kind of nervous about that, like underlying, like, dude, this is kind of spooking me out. Like, all of a sudden I was doing my dance, he comes out of nowhere, and then he says little things like fucking taggers, like, and instead of being straight up, he he thinks like graffiti is like some sort of, like, he's like more against graffiti than like the Southsider guy who, when he goes to jail, he's part of the Southside, like, that he would be, like. So, like, those things kind of trigger me, and it's like, bro, like, you know, instead of being cool, or he's a very angry older man. So, and I'm a guy that's kind of tense at first approach. Very paranoid guy, right? And so I just kind of avoid him a little bit. And but he's a good dude. I still help when I can. If I go, am I gonna give the other guy some food? I'm gonna give him food. It's only smart, you know. Especially living out here, you help, but you're also helping to survive too, you know. So anyway, all of a sudden, these motorcycles. When I'm outside with Odin, these helicopters are coming in a circle. They're literally circling like where I'm around, and I kind of thought, like, well, dude, I think they got called to be on this fire. But then behind it, like later on, like a bigger helicopter came. It was like a search and rescue helicopter where it fit like probably like 12 people in there. You know what I mean? And it had like 2 propellers on top, and like, so now it was like four flying airplanes in the sky, you know, 3 of like those regular looking helicopters, the ghetto birds, and then 1 of those like long looking, like kind of like a semi blimp, you know. I was like, what the fuck? I was like just super high and paranoid already. Like, Odin kind of triggered me. Like, is he watching me? Like, what the fuck? I can't just do my dance right here. Like, in my head, I'm thinking this. Like, do they not want me to have any fucking creative freedom? Do they not want me to be a superstar? Like, literally, do they not want me to do what I love? Or are they mad because I'm just existing here? Like, are they trying to force me to move back into a place that have triggers, which is unfortunately where my mom lives? Oh, somebody's coming right here. There's not even no fucking, there's not even no, these, anyway. So, I'll talk about that later, bro. So, fucking, what was I talking about? Some people walked by and they kind of threw my train of thought. I didn't even see them walk this way. But, people are nosy, but, and I'm talking personal, that's why I feel like, fuck, man, you know? But, so what was I getting at? So they're going around, right? And they finally leave. And as soon as they leave, that guy that lives in the trailer at the church, all of a sudden he like pops out of nowhere. And all this is like, what the fuck's going on? Like all of a sudden, like, so the first thing, I'm being a smart ass. I like to just talk about the elephant in the room right away. Like it's like going on a roller coaster. If I'm scared of it, just go on it right. If I already chose to go on it, just get on it right away, get it over with, you know? So I turn around, like literally, like the helicopters are probably like, you could probably still see them, but it's not as loud. They're not over you, you know, they're off in the distance. And so I said like, oh, that was your squad, or that was your infantry, your squadron. And he came back with something clever too, but he was kind of being cool at this moment. And so as he's walking up to me, I was like, man, to me, I'm like, what the fuck? Like he hasn't noticed that. He hasn't noticed the little fire, the little smoldering right there. And so I'm like, this can't be true, man. He must be trying to get rid of me. Like I feel like these people are trying to are trying to make my I'm still thinking paranoid, like somebody try to start a fire here to hurt me, or like this had to be intentional. This can't, like, how could just a fire start, you know? This had to be intentional. The world's out to get me. And so I end up showing him, like I try to see how he would react. Like, hey, like you don't see that little smoldering right there? And it was still smoldering. He's like, what? It's what fire? He looks back, and at this I'm still analyzing him so much, and everything seemed like natural, right? So he goes and looks at it, and you didn't put it out. He's like, you didn't put it out. And then like he moves it. I was like, you need a shovel. You need a shovel. And like he's like, I'm gonna go get some buckets. So he went to go get buckets. At this point, I get in my truck because I'm like, this is fishy. Like he's hiding something. Super paranoid, right? Super paranoid. He's hiding something. And then I'm like, all right. So he comes back. He's like, get out, help me. I said, it ain't my business. You wanna fucking stay here? Get out. And then I'm like, what the fuck? And it looked like he was trying to open my door. I said, bro, back up, bro. Like, calm the fuck down. He grabs my phone, bro. He grabs my fucking phone. He like grabbed my phone. He like threw it in the back of my bed. He's like, I'm gonna smash this. And then he throws the buckets inside the truck. He didn't throw it in my face, but he like threw it inside the truck, but like on me. And like, it looked like he was like gonna attempt to pull me out like the police. I'm like, bro, I'm dude. But I'm telling myself, bro, in my head, I'm like, what's going on, dude? Did the church send him? Like, I was like, bro, I ended up telling him this too, because I was thinking, nah, even if these people want me out of here, maybe by law, since this is a public place for humans, not necessarily breaking the rules by being here. You can't stay overnight, but not necessarily breaking the rules by being here, because it's open. They haven't closed the gate. There's a gate to close it, right? And so, but I go back and I kind of think that my attitude kind of triggered him a little bit, because he was living here for a couple years before the church finally supposedly, this is what he told me. That's why. And see, that supposedly, that doubting him is kind of making me paranoid too. So I go back to the think. Is that like a, you know, is that a, what's T? Is that a, you know, is it a necessary thought? You know, at the end of the think, is it a necessary thought? You know, is it helpful? Is it encouraging? You know, no. So I go back to that. I'm like, you know, I should, if I don't know to think about that, I would have had a better time controlling my mind. So when he's like, do you want to stay here? I'm like, bro, I kind of used some attitude, because he already kind of disrespected me by pulling my phone out, you know, getting super aggressive with me, bro. I could have easily punched him or something, and if I had a witness, I probably would have, you know, if they might have been trying to say, nah, they might not believe me, but the witness would have been there to see, like, you know, that guy, he switched, bro. He fucking got all crazy, like, you know, I would have probably had to punch him once or twice, or maybe fucking choke him just to feel like you had to restrain him because you felt like your safety was, being, and low key, it was low key. But I held myself in composure. I was shaking, bro. I was really, really angry, and I even after felt like a bitch. I rolled on my windows, and I didn't want nobody to fuck with me. I didn't want none of those motherfuckers to fuck. I thought they even seen him treat me like that. I was already thinking, fuck the church, They're trying. They're maybe maybe he's over there scheming, and they use him as like a pit bull for anybody trying to be around here to keep them away. And as I was thinking so deep about this, it started to seem to make sense because it was like, well, all of a sudden there used to be a lot of people here, but that he's the only one that survived and lived there. It's kind of like he would have to be more on their side, right? He would have to be more for their benefit, or you know what I mean? And he would be there for their benefit. Like, okay, if we just take one of these homeless guys and show like, oh, we're actually like doing something for these people who need help because we are the church and we're supposed to be this organization of help, then I think that it's like, okay, it'll keep all the other people away, and like they won't necessarily have to deal with us. They could just go through him, because I mean, they do let me use the restroom, which I'm grateful for that. They're not necessarily the most thoughtful. Like they never offered any food or anything like that. And I'm not blaming that on Mike. It's more like that would come from your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like how sometimes I see that dude just sitting in the sun, and like I'm like, fuck, let me go give him let me give him some weed. I'm talking about Jerry Garcia, because he says he's dying. He says he has neuropathy in his feet, so it's very painful, and his kidneys are going bad. But like I said, I don't know the guy, so I don't. And like that could be a story he uses. But my heart, anyway, I'm always constantly seeing what they're up to. But I feel like, I know they're hungry. They have to be hungry. When I go eat, I think about them. And that's my heart. And so he started getting crazy with me. He's like, you want to be here? Then because at that time I'm like, fuck this guy. I'm like, you know what? I ain't getting nobody's business. Like I said, I'm paranoid. I'm trying to show these people, I'm not a police guy, and I'm not here even also to like report on any fucking corrupt shit going on. Like, not that I'm seeing it, but I'm not here to dig and try to fucking find shit out. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. This is part of my journey, and things are happening naturally for me. So I'm like, I told him, bro, you don't fucking live here. And not only that, because there's times where he comes around, he thinks he has like, he has any say around here. It's like, bro, you live on the fucking, see, these thoughts aren't productive, but I had thoughts where like, I was bitter. I'm like, bro, you're probably someone that you got to be careful around what you say. You might go tell the church, oh, that person's a cool, because he's not trying to lose his spot, and he's also not trying to be messed with either. So I'm not necessarily like, oh, if you feel someone's like, if someone was crazy here and like really like a violent person out of his mind, I didn't feel like I could go to sleep at night, which my paranoid's kind of like, should I be going to sleep around these people? But these thoughts aren't really doubtful. They haven't really showed me a super negative side or a crazy side, even on their drug. You just really got to be careful how you talk to people that are on meth, living in the street. They have their anger, and so you got to be very careful. But then people like that, if you guys watch this, who live on the street and have substance abuse like meth that keeps you up, that's an upper. You also got to check yourself. You also got to check yourself. Like, you can't expect people. I was expecting they keep like. That's a survival mechanism. You want to see how much someone's willing to help you. So if the help keeps coming, you're gonna do it until they shut you off. And the worst case scenario is one day you're just like, fuck this guy. I'm gonna steal from him because he doesn't help at all. I know he has something. That's when people steal from people with nothing. But even the little bit of something they have is a lot that I don't have. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. Like, I even tell the guy when we're smoking and he's super close to me talking. Even at night, I tell him, bro, just tell me if you're in need, bro, and you're telling me, hey, bro, you're not even asking anymore. You're demanding that, I help you, or, bro, just don't even strong arm me, bro. Just take my shit. I don't give a fuck. And he laughs. And are those helpful thoughts? I guess in the situation they are, because if I feel a little threatened, I'm gonna speak on it, So. But so anyway, the guy Mike, who was like, it's just so weird because these guys who are living on the property I'm on, who don't have the benefits of the church or haven't even cared to become part of the church, like to in a sense, I'm not saying kiss their ass, but play that role of like, but he helps. I guess he helps out, and he's like their yard dog, He's like their uh, someone said a house mouse, but someone I guess who's helpful, like a porter, you know what I mean? And so I even told him, bro, like, bro, you're acting like the police, bro. Like, bro, I have nowhere to go. Like, I have nowhere to go, bro. And for me to commit, and I have nothing, but to me to like hit you or beat you up, or maybe you kick my ass, but just a fight in general, bro. You want me to go to jail for you? That's like I'm not even saying police behavior. That's like setting me up to get in trouble. Why would you do that? Police don't even do that. They do if they have to, the tactics of, bait car and stuff like that. But bro, that's some police around here don't even mess with me. And that paranoids me sometimes too. I'm like, dude, are somebody telling them, we'll get them later? You know what I mean? I'm not doing that bad, but I'm just saying, like, I'm scared of jail, They could put you in there and they could do anything to you in there and say anything happened to you. So it's like a scary place, I don't want to go there. Who the fuck would want to be there, And even being paranoid as I am, being in there like that, it doesn't feel good at all. I hate it, actually. Because like telling this world is very ignorant, and ignorance is actually a tool that's used a lot, it's being used for us to use it against each other. And so I was telling him, bro, he's like, get out, help. He was literally making and this is the second time he's done that. Another time he was getting really in my face, and like at that time I really wasn't paranoid. I was actually more like a little nervous to fight, I'm not really a fighter like that, but like I'll black out, bro, and I'll give him my all, bro, and like and that time he fucking had me shaking too. But this time I was really paranoid. I was like, dude, and somebody was telling me, be still. I was telling myself, be still. And even if your craziest paranoid thoughts of this, even the church, these people that are powerful wanting you gone, that they're using little tactics like this, their crazy little fucking ex-homeless guy that they're doing some sort of charitable work for, they use him to like start to go over there and like be aggressive and pick fights to like, it's crazy thinking. I'm like, so nobody kind of knows what maybe the tranzas that the church does, so they want to keep people away. Like all that stuff runs through my mind, but I'm not here for that. I have nowhere to go, bro. I have nowhere to fucking go. Like nowhere to go, unless to be alone, to heal, to not be judged, and like it's difficult thinking. It's very stressful, man. It's very stressful. My heart's been hurting me, like really hurting. I don't know if I'm like getting like a clog in my heart, where like there's times where my heart hurts, and paranoia and high stress levels and PTSD, it affects me, bro. And up my bipolar, up and down, feeling really good, top of the world, and really low. But I felt good about myself that I didn't snap on him. I felt good yesterday, before I thought about the think stuff. I felt good I didn't snap on him. I felt really good that I got through it. I got through that. I woke up today feeling good that I survived the night. Nobody came to harm me at night. I went for my run in the morning. I'm glad I woke up earlier before that guy could wake me up. So, okay, like I didn't get used. I don't know. I just had a good day this morning. But that's what happened yesterday. And that made me super paranoid. I was like, man. Or because after he had that scene with me, and I still kind of went to go help out a little bit, but just so I could kind of talk shit. I was talking shit to him, like, you're a bitch, bro. Dude, you know I know where to go. You act like that, bro. And I even said, like, what, is the church telling you to fucking do this shit, bro? Like, I ain't gonna let you. I told him pretty much, I ain't gonna let you throw me off. I ain't gonna let you trick me out my life and my freedom. If people are really intended to hurt you, you have no control over that. You can defend yourself when it happens, but everything before then, you have no control over. So if he wants to be in my face talking shit to get me to react, that's bad, bro. That's not being a good person, bro. It'd be better if you were used as a puppet and you were getting paid or getting benefits for doing that. But, I mean, and I even told him, like, bro, you're an old man, bro. Like, you're just bitter, bro. Like, you're bitter. And he's like, your life's fucked, too. Your life's already fucked. You don't even know. And that even heightened my sense of fucking paranoia. Like, what do you mean? Are you guys having some sort of church congregation? Like, you know, the church is pretty powerful. But even then, like, that's super paranoid and that's super, what do they call it? Fucking, what do they call it? That shit, that's super, that's super conspiratorial, right? Super conspiratorial. So I guess that guy really. And then I was talking to my therapist today. I was like thinking, well, maybe he's seen that. Maybe since he's an older man, he sees that it'll take a lot for this guy to actually want to like harm me. And obviously I showed him that it would take a long time, and I'm kind of glad I showed that, you know. But it's like a fucked up relationship. I don't have to let that guy be around me no more, especially if he's gonna put me in those predicaments that could make me potentially snap. Because just because I'm talking about this think stuff does not mean that I'm fucking equipped yet to go out into the world and, you know, deal with other people's different attitudes that might trigger me, you know. And but I'm glad I got through that, because it was like, you know, fuck you, man. Like, that sucks. You're trying to throw me off like that. You know what I mean? Like, that sucks entirely, you know? And there's so many other triggers out here. I'm going to end this with this. Like, I was at because, like, I've been reviewing my thoughts more, not just passing them, not just bumping my music or smoking a joint or using that joint as a mask to be like, okay, guys, I'm a weed head. You know me, weed heads, you know, they just want to be by themselves, left alone, fucking stupid. Like, I was like, no, like, let me really stop this thought and try to deflect it. Let me deflect this thought. Let me understand this emotion that's coming up and not say it this way. Or, you know, is that thought 100% true? Is that thought helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? I was just kind of sitting in silence for a little bit, and I was reviewing myself, and it was like, just right now, it was just like, man, I'm gonna keep this thing forever. Like, and like I said, like when I woke up today, I was like, man, I need something. Like I woke up early to go for my run in the morning. Oh, and that's when Jerry Garcia came, and he talked to me. I was like, okay, let's see what he wants. And sure enough, he wanted to ride to the cemetery. There's like a cemetery where you can use the restroom, and he could do his little bird bath and stuff. And I was thinking, oh shit, he wants to take me over there to harm me. Or like every day, it's one of these guys' goal to get rid of me, like to make my day bad, where like to make it uncomfortable for me to be around here. I think that, like, I'm like, is America that good of a country where they let a homeless man stay on their land for free? You know, it's like, I don't know, maybe they just really want to build a case on me and just build up all this bad stuff to one day reveal it, or just one day take me away from my life, and like just super paranoid thoughts. And my therapist today, I shared some stuff with her, and she was willing to like stop and like say, well, you see how you're thinking, like you think you're very paranoid. It seemed like she was experienced with that too. And so I went from, where was I at? I was at the McDonald's using Wi-Fi, and I was like, I need to charge my battery, but I also need some water. So I was like, and I'm still struggling with it. I still struggle with this, where it's like, you know, I went to the water store, but it was very busy right now. It was during lunchtime, I guess, and it's a shopping center. So I was like, I don't want to get out yet. There's people filling up their water. Like, I was wearing short shorts. I'm like, my tattoo. I'm like, I don't want people to look at me. And like I said, when men look at me, low-key makes me feel like a gay feeling, low-key. It makes me feel, I don't like that, you know. And sometimes I tend, when a guy parks next to me, I tend to have like a fucked up face, and like I'll say shit like, man, why do you want to park next to me, bro? Like, and that's just assuming. That's assuming they either want to judge me, or they're trying to show me like, I'm cooler than you. Maybe with what they have, or they're like trying to test me, you know. And part of that is because of my being bullied as a kid, being humiliated, you know. And it's times where maybe I cowered or whatever. you know, and that's build up anger. Like, I'm never gonna do that again. I'm a mean person. Like, I'm saying that can cause somebody to become that. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I was sitting in my car, but I was also like, anybody that passed by me, I was controlling my thoughts. Like, okay, this person's driving by. If they look at me, it's only to see who's around, not to judge me or like, you know, because like when I was young and people would look at me or I would hear somebody laughing, I would assume they were laughing at me. Or when I would hear a laugh, like in a crowd or anywhere, I would assume people were laughing at me. And that's if I heard a laugh. But in general, as when I was young, I always felt like every single person's looking at me and thinking I'm ugly. And but as I got older, I turned that into ego. You know, I started doing art, you know, like graffiti that gave me some sort of like artificial notoriety, you know. Or it was real notoriety, but not necessarily like, it's not real because these people are just kind of like, they're not really my family, you know, or friends in my life day to day, you know. But that attention is like, you know, it's something for people who have been, you know, affected when it comes physically, like someone who was called ugly by their mom or dad, you know, or someone who doesn't love themselves physically, maybe not even emotionally, you know. It's all attached, so all that is kind of my makeup and my characteristic. But so as people were walking by, anything I wanted to do, you know, and even being judged, I become kind of a person who notices imperfections. Not necessarily judging someone, because when I do notice an imperfection in somebody, I get nervous and I start panicking and I start like not wanting to look them in the eyes. And on the flip side of that, it's also made me kind of like really admire beauty in a woman. And it's kind of made me personally, like my decision of women that I like to be around every day would be pleasant to the eye, you know. It's like totally opposite probably than what I am, you know. And it's not right to be that way, and it kind of in turn makes me seem a little judgmental. But it's also but they don't know that I'm really empathetic, and I kind of like, you know, because I got made fun of for how I looked physically. I would feel for handicapped people on wheelchairs or people with deformities. I would feel for those people, and you can never make fun of those people around me. If I was gonna get my ass kicked, I would speak up for them, you know. It didn't matter, you know. So anyway, I'm parked, right? And all of a sudden this car comes and they're bumping rap music, you know? And that's like a trigger for me too, because as an artist, like I'm very competitive and, you know, being made fun of and, you know, feeling like someone try to like punk me or something. Like I don't want to share nothing with nobody. So they're gonna just want to take from me. They don't want to punk me. They want to, you know, have trouble with that. And also, so you could tell me I'm good, but if I hear this person next to me, I'm automatically gonna think they're good and they're better than me, and I suck and I'm gonna give up. Like that's kind of like a weak mentality, and it is. It's fragile. It's very fragile, you know. But it's also made me be alone and kind of dive in more, you know, and be more truthful, which has scared me sometimes. I'll be like, man, if somebody heard this, they probably would hate me, you know. Would hate this arrogant side of me, or I don't know. I don't really know. It would bring a lot of fear. That's also. So when that person pulled up bumping that music, I was also like, okay, well, this person's bumping this type of music because they want to be heard, but it was like some hardcore like drill rap. So I'm assuming it was a guy. Obviously, I'm 32 years old, and I'm assuming the person that's playing this music is not over 40, you know. But and you could kind of maybe come up with an assumption of the type of person they are bumping that music. You could assume they're not like really old bumping that music, and they're not obviously super young. Like they're driving, but you could assume maybe, you know, they're a little more rough. It might come from a place of, you know, family members were from a violent organization, or, you know, maybe their family, drugs wasn't something that was taboo in their family, or something that was like non-effective. And it took me a while. I was like, I'm really not gonna go get out of my car and try to fill up my water jug because this person's parked next to me. When I get out the car, I assumed it was a guy. Like they're gonna look at me and I'm gonna feel like, oh fuck, dude, that's gay. Like they're checking me out. Not that it's homophobic. It's like gay men have to realize too that it's new for straight men to have to deal with gay guys checking them out. And gay dudes, they're very fucking, very, very aggressive. They're very assertive. They're not afraid to like stare. Like Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just kind of frustrating. And not that it's just, it's a frustrating thing. They gotta also, like, the drug addicts gotta be aware, like, okay, just because I'm on drugs, I shouldn't be stealing from somebody. That's my fucking responsibility. I should be responsible for my habit, right? It's like, you know, like, people got to be aware. It's like, you know, and it's also giving me a perspective for the women, how men are like that with women. You know, trust me. I'll tell you stories off this camera of why I've kind of gotten a frustration with gay people or gay men, where I would like to communicate that to them. It's like, bro, at least start a conversation, bro. Don't. But see, a lot of insecure straight men, I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of young men with no leadership and no men, no really strong men in their family. I just think that to make life easier, they'll go with the crowd, you know. And they'll be accepting. But they don't want to seem like they're against somebody by saying that's not the way I want to live my lifestyle. I see that on a lot of young men, because a lot of young men, I get their attention too. You know, they look up to me. They say tattoos and stuff, but they never grew up in a place where there was strong men, like strong family that you go to. You know, there was grandparents that kept their family strong, and so these young men grew up with other older men in their family. You know, middle-aged cousins or middle-aged tios to older tios to great tios, and like these men they seen how other men conversated, so you know. They didn't mistake that feeling of pride for like, oh, you're tickling me. Oh, this must correlate to being a homosexual emotion, you know. Trust me, I noticed a weakness in myself. So that's why I can speak on this. Like there's a beautiful girl who comes hiking right here with a prosthetic leg. If anybody from my community knows her, I spoke to her once, and I feel like she wants to talk to me more. Sometimes, because the seldom times that I do see her, she kind of parks next to me. She's such a beautiful, it's like God knew who he was going to, whose limb he was going to take, and that person would be able to deal with it. Like, I noticed her before I ever looked in her eyes. I didn't want to seem like I was checking her out, but I noticed she had a prosthetic leg. And one day I was out there talking to Odin one time, and she just happened to come, and I said, no, I'm going to ask her. I'm not going to later be like, oh, Odin, I should have talked to her. I said, you know what, hey, miss, did you were you in the service or something? Like, did you lose it, like serving in a war or something? But she wasn't. It was just a starter, because she wasn't even like real violence. I don't think there's really been any, like, I think there's still gunfighting in other countries for sure, but I just had an assumption. She's like, no, I had cancer when I was 13. And like a couple people I've told when I've seen her again, like that other guys that live around here, the neighbors that I told you about, I'll be like, man, she's my queen, or like, but not on some creep shit, because like I don't just wait here all day to see her one time again, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's just a place I feel safe, so I'll deal with people's fucking judgments and whatever they believe. Like I said, I could look, I'm not fucking creeping, I'm never, you know what I mean? I don't want to get into that, but I've made jokes like, you know, she's my prosthetic queen, or like, man, I would love her. Like, I made jokes like, man, I'll rub her nub, you know, because dude, her face, she's such a gorgeous woman. You can just tell she's like angelic, like she was given this heart to be able to deal with it. I asked her in that small conversation I ever had with her, I asked her, like, were you in pain? She's like, yeah, it hurt so bad. I was like, did it affect you mentally? Did you go through depression? She's like, no. And now it makes me curious to see, because my assumption now is that she came from a really good supportive family. But I had seen her randomly the other day. She doesn't come often, or maybe she does, because I leave when it gets busy. But and I never really knew her car. I know it now. I knew the color of it, but I never. To give you perspective, like, I really wasn't like jogging her that bad. It's just like I had seen her leave. Actually, one time I seen a car coming in one time, and then later Odin tells me, oh, that was so shit. So I had an idea of the kind of car she was in. But now I know for sure, because like I said the other day, she just randomly pulled up, but I was already here. A girl had pulled up in another car, and then she came, but I didn't know yet. But when they came back and I was about to leave, I was like, oh shit, the whole time that was her. But then that was her friend that I had noticed. Then I noticed a friend was waiting for somebody. I noticed a friend's guest came, or the friend's hiking partner came, and sure enough, it was a prosthetic girl. So I only ended up seeing from behind while she was walking to her car. But it gives me like she's not afraid of me. She's willing to park next to me. Like it's like, okay. I feel like maybe they want to have a conversation with a man like me. You know, it's just a conversation. You know. But she's just so beautiful, and so I found it very serendipitous that today was my therapy, and that whole thing of think. You know, is what you're thinking about yourself or other people 100% true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? I just found it to be so profound, you know. But anyway, when I finally got out of my car, is because I finally looked into that car, and it was a young girl. Not a young girl. I mean, she was young, like maybe like early 20s, and I could tell like maybe she's seen me before. Like I was talking about the young dudes that notice me with tattoos and think it's cool, or like they find like, oh man, this guy got tattoos. Like, because some people want to be expressive. They don't necessarily want to be gangster, but they want to live a life where, you know, a life of, you know, that's eclectic, that's different. You know, that's they want to, but their family, they come from families that, you know, might judge them, or, you know, so young men, they look up to that, you know. But I noticed that there might be young girls around this neighborhood that might find me physically attractive, but at the same time, they're looking for a leader. When we talk about these men that don't have leaders in the home, these young men, there's also young women, you know. So I notice other women attracted to me because I go running, and you know, I have tattoos, and a lot of times it is younger women, you know, but they need guidance, you know. They need experience, you know. They need but before I knew it was a young lady, and I felt comfortable getting out the car, because I was like, okay, if it's a young lady, she does check me out. It's kind of, for me, it's like not as uncomfortable than a guy, because it's, to me, if the guy parks next to me, it's either he's like, might be gay because he wants to check me out, or he's gonna look at me to judge me. You know what I mean? He's gonna look at me to judge me. But see, for me, that's like a black and white. It's like not everybody's like that, you know. Not everybody's like that, and even if they do, you know, even if they do judge you, it's okay. No, but it just makes me uncomfortable if like a guy, if I feel like a guy is checking me out. It's just like, kind of like I don't like it. And only because like I'm very sensitive to touch, because of me having my early experiences with sex. Because those are very, very, very sensitive physical emotions, you know. I'm even sensitive to like looking in the eyes, you know. I feel like, ugh. It just triggers me, you know, certain emotions, and it's not my fault. I can control things, you know. And I think I just want understanding, you feel me? I want people to understand and give me a try, you know. It's very serendipitous, but very, very crazy little growth. Like, I don't know, I still don't necessarily trust, I don't want to be stuck here forever, you know. I just want to be left alone, you know. I want to be left alone, and I don't want to be, I don't know, the therapy session was very cool. I really, really enjoyed it. You know. Thanks for listening. Have a good day, man. Take care.